Happy Saturday, everybody. How is your weekend starting? Mine started really well. Good Saturday, no problem. Oh, not much happening here. Let me put this down a little bit and see if I can make it. That's better. Or I can just push that back. How's that? That's better. Too close. I got my coffee. Pretty quiet Saturday for me, actually. Not much doing. I spoke to my mum because it was my mum's birthday back in Australia, so I spent a couple of hours talking to my parents this morning when I woke up, which was nice. My mum is 71 years of age. 71 today. Not a bad age, that one. She's doing well. She has some health problems. She was in a bit of pain today while I was talking to her. She was telling me that her arthritis is playing up, so yeah, she wasn't all that great, but it was nice to talk to her. And mostly I only talk to them on the phone now, and just because we live so far away from each other. I think that's pretty. I think it's pretty funny actually, because we Australians don't. Sorry, my dog's being crazy. We Australians don't really move too much. Like on a whole, I know that there's plenty of Australians around the world that do move, but really on a whole, we don't move away as much as Americans do. You could have this culture, and something that I've always something that I've admired about you is that you go away for college, or what we call in Australia university. So I was born and bred in Newcastle, and that was a university that I went to. When I decided to go to university, I was 27, already been working for full time for 10 plus years before I decided that I wanted to go to university. And that may have had a bearing on it, but even the kids that left school when I was 17, 18, I reckon 99% of them went to the local university, Newcastle University. Obviously there was a few that went to Sydney University because of whatever it was that they were going to study, but that's just not something that I believe anyway, that we really do. We don't really move away from home, not our hometown anyway. But it's something that I admire about Americans. You just travel to wherever you are going to go. Also, I find it really funny, and like just the differences between us. For your sports people, like I don't mind American football, so I like how they go to university and then they could end up pretty much anywhere in the country, and they're cool with that. I know footy players in Australia, they get homesick. They'll break contracts and say, "Oh, I want to go home. I don't like playing here," and that's quite like Brisbane to Sydney, which is like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour plane ride. and they're like, "Oh, I miss home. I need to go home." Find that a lot with Queenslanders, that they want to always go home. I don't blame them, because Queensland is pretty nice. I like Queensland. When I lived there, I wouldn't mind living in Queensland. I'll never say that as a true blues passionate New South Welshman, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is with us and like staying kind of close to home. Some Americans don't seem to have a problem with. They'll go anywhere. Like they might be born in, let's say, I don't know, Texas and end up playing football in Buffalo. That's another thing that I really like about American footballers, like the cold that they play in, and they hit each other so hard. It's like it has to sting. I remember playing sport on a cold Saturday morning when I played football on a cold Saturday morning, and until you warmed up properly, it hurt. And those guys, some of them sit on the sidelines for like a long time before they get into the game. At least when with Australian football, when you're out on the field, you're out on the field. There's no coming on and off. You're out there until you can't go anymore, virtually. Amazing. But that's enough of just idle chit chat. Anybody that's no, I won't say that. Here I am, trying to talk live. What did everyone think of yesterday's video? Like the new format? I need to get a little bit better at it. Something that I haven't done before. So I was given a tip. Maybe I should walk a little slower. Apparently, I was like, it looked like that I was speed walking, but that's just when I'm out walking. That's just how I walk. It's the pace that I go at. But my wife was telling me that I should slow down and enjoy it. I was like, I was enjoying it. I'm having fun. Plus, it looks like you're just staring at the camera. I said, yeah, I was a little bit because I wanted to make sure I was always in the shot because that's not something that I'm used to. So I'm going through some experimental stages at the moment on how to do it. Maybe when I get some better equipment down the line, better microphone and all that, I might do the walk and talks. We'll see. But for the moment, I kind of like that one. I'll show you around a little bit of Cyprus where I live and the beaches and the coastline, and I'll get up in the mountains a little bit and the olive groves. I kind of like walking around there. I take my dog. She's beautiful. She loves running around and having a bit of fun. It was pretty funny because when I was out there just recording that footage, I think I was about 5 minutes into recording the first time, and normally I can hear her because she's not very elegant. She's rather heavy on her feet, so you can hear her running around, and when she's getting close, you can nearly feel the ground shake. That's how heavy she is on her feet. And about 5 minutes into filming in the olive grove, I couldn't hear her. And so I looked around to see where she was, and she spotted a dog a couple of fields over, and she took off. So that means I had to take off because she's still only a pup, really. She's only 15 months old, and when she gets it in her mind that she's going somewhere and she's doing something, she goes, and I can't get her to recall. Otherwise she's good. When I've got her attention, she's really good. So if anyone's got any tips on recall of a dog when their mind is distracted, like she's chasing something, how to get her to come back. She doesn't come back. Not straight away. Eventually she does come back. But she's not aggressive either, so she just goes up. She just wants to say hello to people. She's very friendly. My wife and I are always chuckling. She's like, "You ruined my dog." How did I ruin our dog? She goes, "Well, I don't need her to be that friendly. She's supposed to be a guard dog, and she's more interested in pats and kisses and being friends with people." She goes, "No good if people break in. What's she going to do? Lick them to death?" So yeah, my wife blames me because I'm a bit placid like that. Oh, excuse me. No, nearly went down the wrong hole. What else? Oh, I had something interesting happen today. I had a Jehovah Witness show up. That was knocking on the door this morning. I don't know what time it was, 10:30. So after I got off the phone with my mum and dad, about half an hour later, the doorbell rang. Now, we don't get many visitors here. Not many people. We're not, yeah, nobody really ever comes to us. And yeah, there was the doorbell rang. So, and I opened the door, and there was a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses. So I had a little chat about them, a little chat with them. They were talking about God, and they were asking me what I am, and I said I'm Catholic. I've, um, I'm not a practicing Catholic. I don't know if you guys know my thoughts on religion or not, but if you don't, let me give you a quick recap of it. I don't believe in organized religion. I do believe in God, and I believe in a higher power, and I believe in the Bible, and I believe in the Ten Commandments. I think that you take some a little more seriously than others. They are 10 commandments, but I couldn't even name all 10, but I live by uh, treat others how you'd like to be treated. I'm not even sure if it's a 10 commandment or not. That's how bad I am, and that's how long it's been since I've really done any sort of religion studies. But faithful to your wife, don't steal, don't mislead people. Generally, just be a good person and be honest. Be as open and loving as you can. Support each other. They're more my morals and my compass. That's where those lead. I'll tell you a quick story of where that really affected me. I was in primary school. I can't remember what age, but I think I was in about year 4. Now, I started school when I was 5. So kindergarten 5, year 1 6, year 2 7, year. I was about 8 or 9, and all my friends at school were into this magazine called Truck and Life. And I don't know if it was a weekly magazine or a monthly magazine, probably a monthly magazine, but every month, let's say, this new magazine would come out, this new Truck and Life magazine, and it'd have pictures of big rigs in it. And I don't know why, but I just wanted to be part of that. I guess you're rather influenced by your friends when you're growing up. I guess that's how you become friends, because you share an interest. And I thought they were cool. They were the kids that I wanted to hang around. And yeah, they always had this Truck and Life magazine. And I'd been kind of saving up my money. So, long, short story long, I used to get paid 20 cents a week to do my chores. Now, obviously, 20 cents a week is only 80 cents a month. And when your magazines cost $4.95, it's going to take you a few months before you can afford to buy a magazine. And my parents weren't buying me a $5 magazine at all, especially one on trucks. I don't know. But I remember I had $3, and the new Truck and Life magazine was coming out, and my mum was in the shower getting ready for work, and I was ready for school. And while she was in the shower, I went into her purse, and she had $2 in there. And I took the $2 because I wanted the magazine. And I went to the shop on my way to school, and I had the $4.95 5 cents left over, so I could get 5 choc buds too, which was wonderful. 1 cent choc buds, little chocolate bud things. And so I got the magazine. I went to school, and I thought I was like so cool because I had the new Truck and Life magazine before anybody else had the new Truck and Life magazine. And when Mum came home from work, she didn't question me, or she didn't ask any of me or my 2 sisters what happened to the money. She was just telling Dad this story that she had to pay something and she had the right money for it, which, let's say it was $22. She had $22, and that's all the money that she had. And when she went to pay, she only had $20 because there was $2 missing out of her wallet. And I'm pretty sure that Dad was like saying to her something along the lines of, you might have dropped it, might have fell out, maybe it's just in your handbag, all those type of things. She's like, no, it was there this morning. I saw it before I went to work. And then when I went to pay, I never touched my wallet. I never did anything. It was in there. But when I went to pay, it wasn't there any longer. It's not there. And so at that stage, they both come and started questioning us kids about missing money. And none of us owned up. And this is where my shame comes into it, because I wasn't owning up to it. I wasn't going to admit to stealing money. And Mum and Dad were rather angry and insisting that one of us had stolen money. And I can't quite remember what happened, but I think they went through our school bags. I don't know why, but they did. They went through our school bags. And in my bag was this brand new Truck and Life magazine. And they said to me, where did you get the money for that? I'm pretty sure they knew how much money I had saved up, because I wasn't much of a saver. And they put 2 and 2 together, and they're like, did you take the money out of Mum's wallet? And my first instinct was to lie. Nope, didn't do that. Nope, I didn't take it, not me. And they didn't go angry at me. They just said, okay, we believe you, but somebody put Mum in a really bad position. Mum had to pay for this, and now she owes this person's $2. They come to collect their money, and she didn't have the money. Somebody put Mum into a really horrible position, really bad. So they kind of laid on the guilt trip to me, thick and hard, until I just confessed and said, yeah, it was me. I did it. I took the money. And they were rather disappointed. Neighbours coming home. I don't know if you can hear them. It's every time I go to record, every time I go to make a video, they always show up, and they're very loud. Can't hear the little boy, but he's normally the loudest. Yeah, let's see what wifey's up to here. She's sending me messages. Not nice. And they let me keep the magazine. They didn't take it off me, and they said, you enjoy that magazine. We want you to really enjoy that magazine. They didn't ground me. I didn't get a Belgium. Normally I would have expected to get a bit of a flogging, but no yelling, no flogging, no anything. They just told me to enjoy my magazine and be proud of what I did. And I can, hand on heart, I can tell you, I've never stolen another thing in my life. Never wanted to feel like that again. So I don't know how people can do that. I don't. If you watch that, my Ponzi scheme video where I got scammed out of 50,000 euros. I never understand those people. I don't know what type of human being can be like that. I know they're out there and all that, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. I really don't understand the consciousness of somebody, because I learned that lesson when I was 8, and I knew that feeling, and I've never wanted to have that feeling again. So I've never wanted to steal from anybody or take something that somebody else has worked hard for. Just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how they can live with themselves. But one day they'll have to answer for their crimes, I guess, either here on Earth when when they get caught and they have to go to jail, maybe, or go to court, or when they die and they'll have to answer for their sins there. But I just don't know how people don't have a conscience and can do things like that. It just amazes me. How do people like their coffee? I can't drink coffee if it goes cold. I can drink like iced coffee and enjoy it. But if I've got a hot coffee, I have to drink it hot. Once it goes cold, I don't drink it anymore. I don't like it. I'll either put it in the microwave, nuke it, and give it some more heat, or tip it out. I just can't drink cold coffee. Once it's gone cold after being hot, it's horrible to me. I really do not like it. So that's amazing. How do you like your coffee? Can you drink it cold? My wife can. She'll have a cup of coffee all day and just have a sip here and there, sit on the kitchen bench, and then pick it up, have a sip. A couple of hours later, have a sip. I'm like, how do you do that? That's gross. I don't like that. That's terrible. Who knows? But I can't. And it's the same when it goes the other way. If I'm having a cold iced coffee, if it starts to get room temperature, no good. There's not many things that I actually can drink that's room temperature that I enjoy. I don't like drinking water at room temperature. I prefer cold water, because I think it's got I don't know, the coldness is good. When it gets to room temperature, I don't know, I think it tastes funny. I don't like the taste. So yeah, there's something about me that's a bit weird like that. If it's supposed to be a hot drink, I've got to drink it while it's hot. If it's supposed to be cold, I've got to drink it when it's cold. If it's room temperature, not interested. Don't like it. Always tastes funny to me. It's one of my little quirks. I have many quirks, actually. I have to have even numbers. I can't, like TV volume, car stereo volume has to be on an even number. Like I can't have it on an odd number. It just annoys me. We were talking about this. Wife and I were talking about this the other day, because what our plans are. She said, so we can't have. What we want to do is buy some rental properties to go along with our house, so we can have a passive income that way, reasonably passive income by renting out property. And she said, so we can only have 2. And I said, nah. So we can have 3 or 5. She said, but you don't take odd numbers. So yeah, but our house is included. So that makes it an even number. And she just shook her head. She said, "So if we were to have kids, how many kids will we have?" I said, "2 or 4. Can't have 1 or 3. Not doing that." And so she's questioning me on all these things. She wants to get 5 chickens. I said, "No, it has to be 6." And she's just shaking her head. I'm like, "That's just me. I don't like odd numbers. I prefer even numbers. Odd numbers are no good to me." So we were talking about that, and she's always having a bit of a laugh at me about my thing about even numbers. What else? Oh, dogs. She said, "We've got to get another dog." She says, "I want another 2." We can't have 2. You can have 1, or we have 4. We've already got 1 dog, so you can have 1 more. You can get a dog for yourself if you want, but that's it. She said, "Well, what if I want 2?" Sorry, I don't do odd numbers. So yeah, that's a little bit more information about me and the things that I think of. I think I was talking a little bit about the Jehovah's Witnesses before, so I'll just finish that off. They were having a good old chat with me about God and all that. I said, "I got no problem with God. I do believe in God. I just don't believe in organised religion." And they're like, "What about the Bible?" I said, "Yeah, Bible's fine, as long as it's not some priest or rabbi or um, preacher, something like that, telling me that this is what it's supposed to mean. This is do this." And you know, I can interpret it myself. I don't need somebody to tell me what it says. I can read it and make interpretations of myself. I'll have a discussion with you about it. And that was something that I loved doing when I was a kid in in I guess in America you'd call it Bible study, but it was part of as I went to a Catholic school. It's just part of school. You have a religion class. And I used to love having the debates with the religion teacher, asking all sorts of questions. Yeah, but doesn't it mean this or can it mean that? People, I remember, this was in high school. I remember people used to love being in the religion class with me because they knew as soon as I asked a question, that was the end of the lesson. There was no writing, there was no nothing because it was just going to be a debate for the rest of that class. And I think classes kind of went for about 45 minutes or so. I can't really remember. Maybe it was shorter, but they used to always sort of G me up before the class would start. They'd be like, what are you gonna ask?" Her name was Miss Kearney. "What are you gonna ask Miss Kearney today? How are you gonna do that?" Sometimes it would happen right at the beginning. Sometimes it would happen halfway through. I always got to know that at the end of the class, people would be like, "Oh, I didn't think you were going to say anything today," or "Why didn't you say anything today?" Happened most days, but it didn't happen every day. But yeah, I like having debates. I like having discussions. I like learning more about something and then kind of forming my own opinion. I'm also trying to, I don't like that word trying because trying means that you're failing and you're not really giving it all. I've stopped being so opinionated or so righteous in my opinion. My opinion's my opinion. The way that I do things, they work, but it doesn't mean that other people's ways don't work. And they don't have to change to do things the way that I do them. But if they're willing to listen and ask questions and be informed on what I'm all about, well, then that's great. That's all I can ask. And you never know because I kind of think that people's ignorance is just not being informed. They instead of shooting down an idea before they even give it time to be understood, is kind of ignorance. And that's something that I've had to train myself to do, to accept other people's opinions and to accept that there are other ways and people aren't me and they just don't know this way, because it's a bit like that. You've been told all your life about how to do something, what's important, what's not important, and you believe that that's the way. I got a good video coming out this week, actually. All my videos are good, so watch all my videos because they're all good. Subscribe and watch and hang out for every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new upload, and then come and let's have a talk about the week on Saturday, the week that was. Maybe that's what I should call it instead of coffee break. Let's just talk about the week that was. Hi, Romy. And I've lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, other people's opinions. And yeah, I'm all about doing things the easier way, and most of the ways that I think that are pretty easy are easier because I've done the opposite, and I did the opposite for such a long time, and now I'm like, this is much easier. Being more relaxed and happy and going with the flow. People think that it's laziness or you don't care all that much. But why get red in the face and blow up and be angry all the time? Because that doesn't really solve any of the problems. It actually doesn't solve any problems. All it does is let you cause more problems. I remember sometimes I've been that angry, like you either throw something, break something, lose something, and then you got to go and replace it anyway. So being angry ends up costing more. Being frustrated, all it does is push it down the line. There was a good story a few years ago. I'd been working on a project, and I've been working on it for a week, and I don't know, it was a Friday night, and I was transferring it all to a new folder or a new file, and I did something. It was late at night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I'll just finish this off. I'll just put all these documents together and into one folder, and it'll be much easier to access. I hit the wrong button, and it didn't delete them, but it sent them all back to where they'd come from. And I just spent like 6 hours putting all these things together because I'm not great with computers. I can do a little bit here and there, but I'm not all that great with them. Anything that's too technical, I have to ask my wife to do, and she showed me what to do. So I'd spent like the next 6 hours putting it all together, and then I did one mistake, and I just buried my head in my hands, and I just closed the laptop. I was like, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I stuffed up." She goes, "Oh," and I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll just close it. I'll come back tomorrow and see what happens." Opened it up again the next morning. Took me about an hour to fix the error that I'd caused the night before. No drama, no foul. But I could have just sat there all night just fuming, or at least for the next half hour or hour, however long that I wanted to stay angry with it. Oops. I need to plug in my laptop. Hang on. Goes in there somewhere. There we go. We got it. The battery power came on. That's right. A lot of people, they think if you don't show passion, sorry, Romy, sometimes, yeah, a lot of people think if you're not emanated, I didn't even say that right, emanated, um, uh, and high energy or anything like that, that you're just not passionate about it. I used to use that as an excuse when my wife doesn't like me talking loud. She she keeps her voice very calm, and I used to get really loud and worked up, and the more excited I got, the louder I got. And she used to always say to me, "Why are you talking so loud?" And I'm like, "I'm just passionate," because I didn't know how to express, because that was the only way that I knew how to express, was by talking louder and bigger gestures and really showing, I'm into this. But now I'm more calm, and I just talk about things, and I know that I'm passionate about it. And I think you can actually hear it in people's voices when they are passionate about it. It's not about the loudness, it's not about the excitement. But when somebody can just talk about something for any length of time, you know that there has to be a passion there. Because if you started to wanted to talk to me about, I don't know, opera music, I wouldn't be able to speak about it because I don't like it. But you ask me anything about history or uh, what I'm doing now, which is diving even further into mindset and the laws of attraction, laws of the universe, really getting into Abraham Hicks again and having an understanding of it, I can talk about that stuff, and you'll just know, people will just know that there's a passion there because you keep talking about it. If you keep talking about something, you got to be passionate about it. It's got to mean something to you. So, excuse me. Yeah, it does. When it does show up in the eyes, and when the face lights up, you're like, yeah, this person's into what they're talking about. They're really into this. You don't have to be the rage monster or the one bouncing off the walls all the time. So yeah, that's fun. How's your day going, Romy? I think this is the first time we've spoken in on my live. So how is? I'm not even too sure where you're from. So if you want to tell me where you're from, that'd be cool. And then I'll be able to check some stuff out. Oh, UK. So what's that? That would make it. It's about 20 to 9 here, so that would make it what, 20 to 8 or 7. Saturday evening? We'll just say that. What's happening on a Saturday evening in the old Blimey? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, about 6:45. But there's about a 2 hour difference between Cyprus and UK. Nice. A good Saturday night indeed, then. I don't really do much on a Saturday night anymore. I like the quiet life. Not much for one going out after dark, actually. If I was. Oh, well, really? Thank you. I Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's it's been a change, growing into the role, I guess, and working it out. It was funny. I was having a chat to my wife the other day, and I said it's funny how the laws of the universe always come back to me. So I started to get into this about 6 years ago, and I was really what I thought at the time was I was really into it, and I was understanding it in a completely different way, and it made sense to me. Everything just sort of clicked. There was so much. This is something I haven't spoken about, but when my wife and I first started talking to each other, and she was asking me all sorts of questions, she thought that I was playing her because she's Romanian, I'm Australian. We started talking from business because she was doing a course or she had a course. And so we were just talking that way. And then we started talking more personally. And she used to ask me all sorts of questions and I could understand them and I would say things. And I'm going to have another conversation with her because I'll have to make a video or talk about it in a live. But the things that she was asking me and the way that I was answering them, and then she'd follow up with, "Have you read this book?" And I'll be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Or, "Have you followed this person?" "I don't know who you're talking about." And she thought that I was just the biggest con artist, biggest bullshit artist ever. And she was just testing me flat out. And she soon come to realize that I had no idea what I was talking about. She says, "It's weird," because she studied it for years and years, very, very much into everything psychology and mindsets and all that. And she said, "I've never met anybody that has never studied it yet gets it." And I'm like, I don't know, just some things happen. It was a little bit like in the last video where I was talking about, yeah, like a racial awakening. Very much is. I don't know really what it's different. For me, it was all about just letting go, and it's it's more like the easy way to say it is just stop caring, and that's what a lot of people say, but it's more than that because we do care. Doesn't matter what somebody say. Like if someone tells you, just don't care about what anybody else thinks or what everybody else is saying. Just do it for yourself. Just relax. Hey, my fellow Australian, morning, Kay. Um, but it was more than that, and that's why I made that video about camera shyness a fair while back. Um, it was just about cleaning out that closet. Like for me, I just needed to come out and say it. Like these are all the things that I'm thinking about, and this is why I can't concentrate and I can't just get out there and speak, and why I forget everything that I'm talking about because I'm so much more worried about everything else. Like, how do I look? I don't look good. I don't sound good. This is no, so many other thoughts going through my head. And once I recognized that, and I was like, I need to deal with this because this is the only way that I'm going to be able to move forward is by releasing it. What better way to release it than just tell the whole world that this is what's going on up here. There's all this madness going on up here. So let's clean that out and see what happens going forward. I still, I don't. Yeah, it is. It's really bad, and it's not. It's it's easy to let go once you're ready to let it go. Once you like, my wife and I were talking about masks the other day, like how people have a mask on that they want to present an image to the world, and she couldn't understand. She's like, why do people have masks on? Like, I'm very open, honest. I'm very this and I'm very that. I just don't care. And I said to her, she's like, you were trying to mask yourself. Why? So the thing is, most of the masks are that ingrained in you that you don't even know there's masks. You just assume, you just think that's you. You're like, I didn't know that. I just didn't know. And it's not just about video cameras or anything like that. It's the way that we act. Like for me, I've always tried to be somebody different because I didn't think that anybody would accept me for the way that I am. Like growing up, I was playing footy. Hello, Ricky. Spain, Australia, UK. Got an international coalition going on. This is great. But yeah, growing up, playing footy, I was a big guy. I was one of the biggest guys in the team. So I had to be also one of the toughest. I'm not really a tough guy. I can't fight my way out of a wet paper bag, but I had to play that role. So that was that. Then as I entered the workforce, I've got long hair, I've always had a beard, I've got tattoos. A lot of people also thought that I was a bikie because I rode a motorbike, and the local bikie gang, uh, they thought that I was part of them because I was always at the tattoo parlor getting tattooed. So everybody just assumed that I was a bikie, like, oh, you look like a bikie. So I sort of played that role too. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not. I'm more intellectual or more in the head than I am in the physical. But I'm a big guy, and I've always been a big guy, and people have always treated me as that. They don't treat me stupidly like a stupid big guy, but they kind of expect it. I'm a man's man, so that means that I went to the pub and drank 20 schooners. Kay will understand the terminology of schooner. It's not as, excuse me, it's not as big as a pint or whatever the large glasses of beer that we have here in Europe, but in Australia, the largest you get is a schooner. So yeah, you go down to the local RSL or the bowling club, and you put in a session. You have your 20 schooners. You go and bet on the horses, and you be a man's man. I hated beer. I like it now because that was one of the things that I kind of learned as a teenager. Drink. And drink beer. I don't know. I do now very occasionally, but yeah, that's a little different. But yeah, when I was a teenager, I would drink JD. I did drink JD actually, a lot of it. But currently we're in Cyprus. Been living in Cyprus for 3 years, but we're going to be on the move in March. So I'll tell a little bit more about that in the coming times. But yeah, Cyprus. Been here for nearly 3 years now. But yeah, so I kind of always wanted to play the role that people expected me to play. And I went even further into those roles. Like I was a union delegate for the CFMEU in the mining sector for a long time. People kind of expected me because I knew my dad was high up in the union, so I had knowledge about how it worked and what the laws were. So people expected me to do those things, so I did them. We're more, yeah, I don't really know. But I just always thought it's better to be what other people expect you to be or want you to be than it would be to be myself and really show a side of me that um, that I'm all about. Because I just didn't think many people would accept it, especially back home. I didn't. I don't know. I don't think any of my friends now would understand it too much. But some of them do still come to me for advice, and I tell them different advice now. But yeah, that was the mask that I always wore. I always tried to be something that I'm not, and this is more my style now. Now I'm just trying to refine it so I can come across as a little bit more intelligent and be able to hold a thought and a conversation and keep it going. Now, Kay, you're in, if I'm correct, if I remember rightly, Queensland. I was talking about Queensland earlier. If you're still here. Ah, you're a Mexican. Sorry, I was just going off your picture because somebody else from Australia has a very similar picture that's from Queensland, Victoria. Yeah, well, can't blame you. Queensland's 10, well, Tasmania. Tasmania is fabulous. It just a little too cold. Really? Yeah, Launceston's great. I don't know if they still have it, but is there still a Cadbury factory in Tasmania? That's how long it's been since I've been to Tasmania. There was the big Cadbury factory down there. Yeah, Hobart. It's a beautiful little island. Nah, I wouldn't either, but that's how long it's been since I've been anywhere near Tasmania. That was like, I don't know, 30 years ago, probably. I know that's early. Early Sunday morning. How come you up this early on a Sunday morning? Bruxton near Picton. That all sounds familiar to me, Ricky, but for the life of me, I can't remember where it is. Always up this early? No Sunday morning sleep-ins? Nope. Are you in Melbourne or outside of Melbourne? Outside. Back when I worked for, so it's down the south coast. Nice. That is a nice place. That's probably why I kind of recognise the name. I'm not hugely familiar with the south coast, but um, like down sort of in the Illawarra area, wouldn't it? It is. I forgot. Happy Australia Day. Are they actually doing anything? I was talking to my dad earlier this morning because it was Saturday. I know it's Sunday for Australia now, but the 25th was my mum's birthday, so I rang my mum up for wished her happy birthday, and he was telling me that the local Woolies no no Australia Day stuff. He said he was going off. He was like, Halloween comes around and you can't get into the bloody place through all the Halloween shit. Australia Day, there's nothing. Can't even find a flag. He said they were going to do it, but they didn't do it. Yeah, I know there was a big controversy last year about Woolies um, not having anything. It's terrible. I got Aboriginal friends. One of my best friends is Aboriginal, and he's cool with it, but his sister's really against Australia Day. Like my mate Benny, he doesn't care. He's like, it's a holiday. But his sister, yeah, she's very anti against it. I'm not too sure where I sit because I listen to my Aboriginal friends, and they both have make good points. But I think it's I don't see it as Invasion Day. I think that more it's just a celebration. Like it's not white Australia versus Aboriginal Australia anymore. Like Australia has so many cultures. Like you go down through Sydney and Melbourne might be the same. I don't know, but in some of those parts of Sydney, there are no English speaking signs, and you're like, we do speak English in this country. It's been a while since I've been there, but yeah, that's it. Like it's not putting anybody down. It's just celebrating Australia, and we should. Actually, this morning when I got up, I saw a YouTube ad, and the gallery that's all the comment sections, and it was so funny. And then what's his name? Sam Kekovich, I think. Just eat lamb. It's funny as. I remember. Oh, this is a long time ago, but yeah, Barbies. We used to get around friends' places. We'd just have barbecues, play a bit of backyard cricket, and listen to Triple J Hottest 100 songs of the year or whatever it was called. We used to do that. We did that for years when I was young, and that was so cool. Like it was just a little bit of a tradition. Yeah, up until Triple J started playing shit music. But before that, when I'm talking back in the day of Grinspoon and Powderfinger and Killing Heidi and all those great Aussie bands, I used to love it. Very sometimes you didn't make it to number one because too many beers on those days. Sorry, Romy, I saw you right there. I'll get back to that. Yeah, Australia Day is um, our national day. So I don't know what it is, the Spanish version, but I know the French have Bastille Day. Romania, they just call it Romanian Day. So yeah, it's just like the national day, like kind of like it's not the birth of the country, but it's the more Aussie crawl. Yeah, Aussie crawl's cool. I like Aussie crawl. Things like that. So yeah, it's just National Day. Being Australia Day. Yeah, I have to get back to the rest of your question or statement there too, Romy. I think it is until we develop our country, trust, etc. It is true. Once we feel more confident, more trusting, we do, Ricky. There are lots of reasons to have a good party. You're right. My dog's over there making noises. Until we figure it out ourselves, just back to you there, Romy. Yeah, until we figure ourselves out, we tend to do put on plenty of masks and then we forget who we actually are until sometime, somewhere, we do figure it out and then you sort of drop them all. But some of them are really tight. Some of them you don't even recognize that you have these things going on. I look forward to talking more about that. But Aussie crawl, favorite Aussie crawl song? Oh, Australia is great because we got Christmas Eve, which is a party, Christmas Day, which is a party, then Boxing Day, which is a party, then you got New Year's, which is a party. So like you just really roll into this time of the year, and then you got a couple of weeks to recover, and then you get Australia Day. So you got a couple of weeks to recover after a week of Christmas, New Year's parties, and then you get into it for Aussie Day, and then you got a couple of months to recover before we then have Anzac Day. I'm going to be really ignorant because Boys Light Up. Well, yeah, that's fan favorite from way back. That one. What was it? The Beautiful People. Yeah, Beautiful People's a good song. I'm gonna have to bring up their. I'm gonna have to bring up their playlist. Because there are more songs there that songs. Here we go. Reckless. I remember Reckless. Don't be so reckless. I love that song. Playfulness and fun. I tell you, if more people had more fun and a bit more playfulness in them, our world would be a million times better than it is. I can't. Kay, you might be able to help me because I'm pretty sure it's Aussie crawl or Australian crawl. There's a line in it about pick up the bat phone. Now I can't remember what song that's from. Pick up that bat. I love that song. Yeah. Do you know the line though? That I'm talking. Thanks for dropping in, Romy. Have a great dinner. I shall do. Enjoy my night. You enjoy your dinner and the rest of your evening. You know that's going to annoy me now. Now that I've got that in my head, I'm going to have to go through Australian crawl and find that song because it'll just bug me. Things like that bug me when I have a song in my head and until I can remember the name of the song. And then every time I see it and hear it, Errol? Is it Errol? No, it's not Errol. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. It's just going to grab my attention now. Yeah, and then I'll have to. How am I going to tell you what song it is? Yeah. Pick up that bat phone and dial my number. One more river, one more river. That's how it goes. Maybe it is called One More River. Let's have a look. Let me see. I'm going to have to actually type the words of that song in and see what it is. Oh, that's just James Rain. It's not even Aussie Crawl. But James Rain was Aussie Crawl, so um, it is. No wonder it wasn't showing up on the Aussie Crawl playlist. It was his solo. Yeah, good old James Rain. You're about a year older than me. I'm 46 this year, in a couple of months' time. Rick, I don't. It's funny. I don't really forget things, but I don't have that instant recall. I have to. Sometimes it just takes me a while, but I was talking to my wife the other day. What was I? Oh, here we go again. Now I'm going to show you that I can't remember something. What were we talking about? But I reminded her of something, and she's like, I forgot all about that. Isn't it terrible when you go to tell a story about not being forgetful and then you forget what it was? But we're having a good old laugh about it anyway, whatever it was. I'm like, how could you forget that? It was, no, I can't remember it. Silly boy. You right about that? Yeah. Hmm. Better keep an eye on my dog. She doesn't like me being too distracted for too long. There she goes. She's going back to a couch. So Aussie Day, Kate. Enjoy it. Selective memory. Yeah. As funny as like my wife tells me that I can remember the most useless information in the whole world, but important stuff. She's like, you forget everything, but your mind is so full, or your memory is so full of useless shit. And I'm like, it's not useless. You never know when you may need to access it. I actually do believe I've been reading this and listening to studying this a little bit more lately about you have you could actually remember, like, your memory storage is never full. You can remember everything right back to when you were a little kid. You just can't access it. Or you can't access it. You need to train or something. I'm just starting to get into this memory stuff because it's fun to know, and you're like, every single thought you had is can be accessed. Yeah, definitely. And I was like, imagine that. How much storage do you have? Like, if you think about it, like with a phone or a computer or anything, like you've only got a couple of gigs of RAM. Apparently, your brain's got endless, endless memory. Wouldn't it be? I like those people that have that instant recall ability about them. Like you just show them something and then they can pretty well much access it for the rest of their lives. Sometimes I wish that I had that. Other times I'm like, I'm glad I don't have that because that would be so bad. Well, not so bad, but it would be so much. But in certain cases, I'd like to have it. I think that definitely best memories are ahead. I'm looking forward to those. It was all right. Okay, I'm not big on. I'm going to call them souvenirs or snapshots. Yeah, I had about 10 years of downtime where I didn't really do shit. I didn't live my life to the fullest, but before that, I reckon that I was, and now back at it. It's not. I see it from a different way of not. Doesn't have to be for me anyway. It doesn't have to be full of an adventure and stuff like. I'm more seeing now living my life to the fullest. I love exploring and all that. Don't get me wrong, but I think I want to fill my head with um, different thoughts and different ways of thinking and being more happy and content within myself instead of going and chasing memories. Oh, because I know they're going to come. Just let life come to me instead of me chasing after it. And if I go back, I kind of wanted to chase it for a long time, and then that would not depress me, but it didn't make me the most happiest guy in the world because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I think that's the more about living life to the fullest. Like living it on your terms is pretty good. Going to work for me for all those years, yeah, I learned some skills. I met some great people. I did some great things. They're experiences that not many people get to have in my industry that I worked in. But I didn't appreciate it at the time because I wanted to be doing something else. I always wanted something else in my life. So I want to be content and be happy, and that's what I'm working towards, and that's how I now judge living life to the fullest. Kind of heard it all the time about, don't live with regret, don't regret not doing something. I actually used to think that was like um, more to do with experiences, doing something. When my favorite bands would come to town, I'd go and buy a ticket, and that's what I was like, sort of thinking that was living life to the fullest, like, and not living with regrets. Like, don't cheap out. I remember, I'll tell you a quick story about when I did cheap out once on a band. There was Def Leppard and Cheap Trick came to Newcastle, my hometown, and Def Leppard is up there for me. I love Def Leppard. They were a great band, still are, but back then they were even better. And Cheap Trick, yeah, I could take or leave them. A couple of their songs was cool, but I think I didn't like them so much because I can't remember their song, but I remember that they beat out Poison for the number one spot in Australia when Unskinny Bop was a big hit for Poison, and Cheap Trick beat them out. So I think I had a little bit of bias towards Cheap Trick. But anyway, this was the ticket. This is the bill that was coming to town, and I, for memory, the tickets cost like about $160. Not expensive, but I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to see Cheap Trick. What type of music is that? Rock and roll, I guess. Metal. It's not really metal, more rock and roll. Kind of like the 80s hairband music. That's that's an easier thing to describe them as. Like glam rock, not Bowie style, but glam rock. I don't know. I'm not very good with genres, but yeah, I wouldn't call them classic rock and roll, but they were rock and roll of the 80s. Lots of hair, lots of hair. And yeah, I didn't go to the concert because like I didn't really want to pay to see Cheap Trick. I'd only wanted to see Def Leppard. And I've never seen Def Leppard live, and I'm like, to me, that's a bit of a regret. That wasn't me living my life to the fullest. Cheap Trick would have been pretty cool to see too, but only after the fact that I realised that a mistake was made, that I didn't go and see a band because I didn't want to pay $160 to see another band play with them. And John Paul Young, the Aussie man, JPY's he's a legend in Australian music. Love is in the air. That's from that. What was the movie called? There was the ballroom dancing movie. I can't remember what it was called. Yesterday's Hero. Yesterday's Hero. Wasn't that a TV show? Wasn't that a TV show with John English? No, what was that called? All Together Now. That was it. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, yeah. Well, now you're confusing me. Too many no's in one. Yep. Yesterday's Hero. That had. Yeah, I was born till 79, so I don't really remember too much about what was happening in the 70s. All the rivers run. I do recognise the name. Yes, so do I. 60. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense to why you'd remember the 70s a bit better than me. 70s music. No, you're still a Gen Xer, aren't you? Or is that 65 and up? I don't know. It all seems weird to me. Boomer. I bet you don't feel like a boomer, but that's yeah, JPY. That's the only song I know of his, and that was because of that. Really good balance, good strength, like a freestanding handstand, no wall needed. What handstand push-ups? You doing handstand push-ups? Oh, I say that's fucking strong. Separately, yeah. Push-ups are good. I need to get back into doing them because my shoulders are starting to hurt a lot lately, and because I stopped doing them. I was a few years ago uh, living in Romania. I started to do a challenge. I wanted to do 100 push-ups without a break. So I was working my way up to it. I was sort of recording it as I went. And then once I got there, I stopped because I just didn't really like doing them. But I need to get back into them because like my shoulders are terrible playing rugby league. Actually, motorbikes were the original injury. Like I come off a motorbike and dislocated my shoulder, and then trying to play footy through that separation, I ended up busting up my shoulder really bad, and they got really, really weak. I don't have this arm I do now, but I can lift them up now. Oh, I tilt my head, but that hurts. I get pain down my back of my shoulder there, so I need to get back into it. Yeah, yep, I know. When I was doing a little bit of movement, like I said, when I was doing that push-up challenge, I got really good at doing push-ups too, and and I was actually feeling good. So I should have not stopped, but I did. Now I have to get back into it. I've been thinking about it the last couple of days, like, and for me, that's when it happens. I think it's actually Ricky, I think it's exceeded my expectations. I didn't have high expectations because before I started, it was going through all that research and hearing so many people say, "Don't expect to get any views. Don't." No, that's cool, mate. That's what we're here for. Uh, don't have any expectation. Don't expect any views. Don't expect any followers. Just try and get better. So that was the expectation that I went in with. Like, if nobody sees it, if nobody watches, don't be disappointed by it. Keep going, keep trying, keep working it out, keep getting better. Eventually they'll come. So we're getting towards the end. Well, I'm getting towards the end of this 101-day challenge. And currently I sit at 570 subscribers, and I'm nearly at 1,300 watch hours. And to me, that's amazing. I kind of thought maybe I'd have 50. I didn't put an expectation on it, but I was like, if I get 50 subscribers in this challenge period, that's awesome. If I get, 100 views on a video, that's awesome. So it's far exceeded all those, any sort of expectations, which I did keep very low. I didn't really have any at all. And it does change as you're going through it, like especially after I uploaded my first video and a lot of people were into it, and it got watched, 4,000 times, and 250 subscribers come from it. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And every video to me is something that I want to do for myself. I like people watching. I like coming and having these conversations with people, but expectations, yeah, blown me away. Miles ahead of anything that I thought that would be capable within these 4 months of doing this, starting this. It was only November 11. Yeah, yeah. You speak to a thousand people. That's a big audience. As I was saying before, kind of going back to like my union days, when talking to just the people I worked with. I was on a crew of 100 and we had 4 crews. So yeah, I would talk to 500 people and I'd be standing on the back of a flatbed truck as a stage type of thing, talking to the boys, and it's a sea of people. It really is. That's a lot of people to be talking to. Just because you can't see them all in front of you, and you kind of think, 1,000 or 500, it's not that many. There's people out there that have got hundreds of thousands, millions of followers. But when you break it down and you do have those memories of, I know what it's like to talk to 500 people. I've spoken to 500 people in a live audience before, and it's nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking for me back then. I often always go back a little bit to the music thing. I kind of always wonder what it's like for those rock stars that get to perform in packed stadiums where there's 40 or 50,000 people. What would that be like? It just blows my mind. But yeah, talking to people, having 570 subscribers, and I think the best part for me is it's great that people subscribe, but it really is like the watch hours, because that means people are watching, and to me that's amazing. That's really something special. Like, here's my voice. I'm just speaking and I'm just talking about my experiences and what I think and what I feel and how I'm changing my life and what's going to, what to expect next, what's coming up, all those type of things. And people are engaging with it. People like it. I actually do have some fans. Like every video, there's people that comment every single video. And to me, that's like the coolest thing ever. People that I've never met before that are following me. So it's, yeah, I get it too, Rick. If you don't mind if I shorten it down to Ricky. Rick, that's an Australian thing. Kay will back me up. We always shorten people's names. Kay, I can't shorten yours. You're just Kay. But yeah, if you think about it, if you did put it, and I see it on Threads all the time because I spend a fair bit of time on Threads because I do like writing things out. They give me good ideas and it improves my writing. So I do like writing on Threads, and I see people all the time like, say your Thread's only got 100 views. Imagine standing there and talking to 100 people. If there's 100 people in your house, how packed is your house? And you're complaining that there's only 100 people seeing your post. So, yeah, when you actually put faces to those 100 people and you think about 100 people physically standing there listening to you, 100, 200, 500, you know that that's a fair audience. And when they're listening to you, they're watching you and they really are paying attention to what you've got to say, or I guess for your case, playing a band, they're into you, they're watching you. You are, yeah, it can be intimidating for sure. Yeah. Oh, you can back me up on that, Kay. Like, Kay, like, as an Australian, do we not shorten everything? My wife is like, your speech is terrible. You use slang so much. You can't say words properly. What are you saying? I'm like, yeah, we're just going down to the server. I'll go down and get some fuel. She said, what are you talking about? Petrol station, service station. Why can't you just say service station? Oh, server. Yeah, beforehand. That's because like you kind of play it out in your mind a lot before than when you're actually out there doing it. You're just in the moment. Then it's kind of like if you think about it. Yeah, if you think about like this, if you're afraid of heights, you're not really afraid of the height. You're afraid of jumping over. It's like standing at the top of something or diving into a swimming pool. Like people have that fear, like no, and then they jump, or getting into cold water, like it's going to be so cold, and you get all nervous and you get all jittery about like diving into cold water. And then when you dive in, you're like, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty cool. It's not that cold. And then you have a swim around and you're like, why did it take me half an hour standing out there trying to G myself up to get in here when it's not even that bad? that's the funny thing about it. Like you work yourself up into such a nervous state thinking about what's going to happen. And then when you get out there and you do it, you're like, it's not a letdown, but it's like, I don't know why I bothered with all that nervous energy and nervousness before I started. Like getting into it is the easy part. It's the lead up that you nearly talk yourself out of it and get all sorts of different thoughts going on. And yeah, it was for me too. That's why I made that video about camera shyness. Like as soon as I'd start brushing my hair and thinking, close the curtains and is everything perfect? brushed the beard. You know, it's a bit weird, wild now. I haven't going through a bit of a weird beard stage at the moment because I don't know if I want to grow it out long and go like wild man style like I had it before, or my wife kind of likes to keep it a bit short. So we're having a little bit of a discussion on where the beard goes. Beard stays, just what style of beard it's going to be. But no, get off topic sometimes. But yeah, while ever I'm getting ready, like I'll go and put on a clean shirt and yeah, I don't let it out too much. I have to leave it out with well, she's in charge of the beard and the hair. She cuts it, she maintains it. All I do is wash it, tie it up. But yeah, that's when all that nervousness starts for me. That's where it used to start. Like as soon as I'd sit down and start to brush the hair and start to think about what I have to do, that's when I would have all those other feelings come up. And so now what I try and do is just sit down, just talk. I've tried some different techniques recently. Like if you watch the last video, like I did a voiceover on that while I was just walking around. I thought, let's see if I can do that. Like it's something that I wanted. My wife said, I think this will really work for you. I think that you should try this. I think that just go for a walk, but don't record. Like do your recording as a voiceover. Might work well. Didn't quite nail it great on yesterday's video, but the first one out. I'll get better at it. I've got a few more coming up, Monday and Wednesday and Friday, so we'll try that. Eventually, I will get back to doing lives because I do really want to do the walk and talks. Depends where we move to. Kind of want to move to the country and get back out into the forest type of thing and go for walks in nature and talk. I also have to get a better microphone. I think my microphone's pretty good, but it's pretty sensitive. It does hear a lot of yeah, me too. It does pick up a lot of background noise, so I might have to find a new microphone before I can do those type of things. Spain. No, we're actually probably going back to Romania. We will come to Spain because we've been talking about it for 5 years, but we haven't got past the talking stage yet. But we are going to walk the El Camino. So country walks. Old world buildings, lots. Yeah. Well, we're living in those. How are you, Miles? Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming. We actually get to talk now. Miles is someone who comments on all my videos, and Miles also has a channel, so go and check out Miles's channel, Little Talks with Miles. He does some really good content too. I've watched a lot of Miles' stuff. Cool dude. How are you this morning, Miles? Texas. I didn't actually know you were from Texas. But that's cool. Yeah. So did I say? Yeah. Sorry, Ricky. So yeah, plan on doing the El Camino walk. So that we're going to cover a fair bit of Spain, but that will probably I don't know. Have to get my dog a bit fitter because she knocks up after about half an hour of running around. So I need to get her a bit fitter if we're going to do that 800-kilometer walk. across Spain. Yeah. We like I said, we've been talking about it for, this will be the 6th year now that we've been talking about doing the El Camino, and we were close to doing it a couple of years ago. I was really into training, and I was making sure that I could walk up to 20 kilometers a day. I didn't do too many of them back to back, but we had it planned out. We were like, that's how far along we were going to do it. We were going to leave towards the end of April. We kind of planned it for about 6 weeks, and then we would end it on my birthday, which is May 31st. So that was, what's that? That's spring, isn't it? We wanted to do it before summer. So then I think then we even got a little bit crazy and thought, we'll walk out to go to Portugal, and then we'll fly out of Portugal. But we're looking forward to it. We really are. There'll be just the three of us, my wife, myself, and old Poochie over there, who's having a good old rest. I have to get her back into training. Beautiful, because I like Spanish food. I love tapas and paella and the way that you cook in Spain. I do. So, well, you're going to kind of need it if you're going to be walking. We kind of averaged it out. I think we averaged it out about 23 kilometers a day. So, kind of would need to keep the energy levels up there. Bit of sangria and tapas, and yeah. Now I get all excited and thinking about doing the El Camino again. But definitely is on the bucket list that we will do that, and we want to do. We want to really do it in the next few years, just because I don't want to be old or older when I rock and roll. Life is too short. Even 100 years is too short. So how's your morning going there, Miles? Did Texas get as cold as I saw that Florida got? I saw it was snowing in Florida. They had like a massive storm over there. Not that, just the other day. I see you got a lot of people going through your borders in Texas too, going back the other way instead of coming into Texas. They're leaving. That must be good. But yeah, life is too short. You really do just have to work out. We're going back to more of a, oh shit, that's going to be warm. Very hot, especially for Melbourne. What's today? 12? That's what I remember of Melbourne. Thanks, Ricky. Have a great night. Thanks for coming. Talk to you soon. Every Saturday. There may be, in March, there may be a Saturday or two that we miss just because that's when we're going to be moving. So if we're moving on a Saturday, might not get time to come and do it. But yeah, that's one thing I remember about Melbourne. I went down there, used to go down there for days because I used to work for, I don't know if you would remember this, but the airline Impulse, that was what, nearly 30 years ago. Not quite 30 years ago, 25 years ago type of thing, 26 years ago. And because I worked for them, used to be able to jump on a plane for like 10%. And so you used to be able to fly to Melbourne for like $9. And on days off, we'd just go down and play golf, really, and or just have a bit of a look around the city. But the last time that I was really, yeah, short-lived airline, yeah, it was. It was fun to work with while I was there, but um, yeah, last time I was in Melbourne was 2010. Went down for the week, went to the Melbourne Cup, and I always forget Melbourne Cup's on Tuesday, but I can't remember. It was Ladies' Day anyway on Thursday. They were the two race events that we went to, and yeah, November in Newcastle, hot. November in Melbourne, I had to go and buy like jumpers and jackets, and it was terrible. One day it was hot, next day I'm freezing cold. Had to go out to, I can't remember, somewhere where all the factory outlet stores were. Yeah, see, look at that. Half the half the half the oh, spit it out, man. What are you trying to say? Half half the temperature. Melbourne's the most craziest place in the world, I reckon. I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that you possibly can get 4 seasons in a week. You really do. You get summer, you get winter. Don't want to don't want to dump on Melbourne, but I don't like Melbourne. Yeah. All right. All right. Well then, Melbourne and the Panhandle in Texas can be the can be put on the same line. That's a bit dramatic though. Blistering hot down to snowing. But yeah, that's one thing I'll never forget. Spending a week in Melbourne, freezing, November. Just doesn't sound right for Australia that in November you're going to be cold. How's your weekend going, Miles? How's Saturday morning? Yeah, Queensland, as much as being a New South Welshman stuck between Queensland and Victoria, and we put shit on both sides, and you both put shit on us, but yeah, Queensland's great. My mum and dad were going to move up to Cairns when they retired, but then they didn't want to move away from the grandkids when they did retire. So, but they loved it. I don't think anybody in Australia doesn't really want to live in Queensland. It's a great state. Well, I don't know how well it's run. I did see that, like the rest of Australia, that they don't have great leaders, but as far as the country is, yeah. I had a good mate who used to live in Gympie. I don't know if he still does, but yeah, he lived in Gympie. That was a great little town. Going up there through Bundaberg, and most people think of Queensland like the Sunshine State or Gold Coast or Brisbane. But if you keep going up, it gets even better. Also, it gets hotter, but that's okay. You get used to the heat. Goldie. When we come back to Australia, because we've got to come back, don't got to, but we will be coming back to visit my parents and that because they're getting older. My wife wants to go out with the Goldie. Like, it's funny because you're like, nah, Gold Coast's not the greatest, but everybody knows the Gold Coast, and they're like, let's go to the Gold Coast. What for? There's nothing there. It's not that good. You kind of just think of it as schoolies and every time you go there. It was better. I remember. Um, I'll be able to show my age here, like Cades County, and I've got to sneeze. Excuse me. What are they? Movie World, and what was the other big theme park up there? Movie World, Cades County. Oh, you have to help me out, Kay. There was three of them up there. There was the water park one, Movie World, and Dream World. That's it. Dream World. Yeah. That was sort of I remember that just that as a kid, that was the attraction of going to the Gold Coast as a kid, because we didn't have anything like that down where we lived. Eventually, they built that stupid thing out at Penrith, but um, yeah, never went there. Yeah, Beenleigh Lion Park. Do they actually have proper lions in there? That'd be cool. Hmm. Didn't know about that at all. That'd be pretty cool. That would be like going out to Dubbo Zoo, but better. Remember going out to Dubbo Zoo, 70s. Yeah, so much cool shit was happening back then, wasn't it? Too much cool shit happened back in the day. Where has it all gone? Yeah, I'm going to call it a day. Right, Miles. Well, you have a great day. I'm going to go too because my wife just did the same thing. She's like, "Are you done yet?" So I'm going to call it a day too. Thanks, Miles, for dropping in. Good to see you live. Enjoy the chores. Kay, thanks for coming. Good morning. Happy Australia Day. Have a barbie. Have a beer on me. Oh, not on me, but have a beer for me. All right, guys. See you next Saturday.